See, only 12 students are there. Only 11 to 15, 16. No need, Amit, no need to message in the chat box. You be connected till the end of the class. At the end of the class, I'll take attendance and you can answer when I take attendance. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, students, what we were seeing in the last class? See, only 17 students are there. Why they are taking so much time to join for the class? 18, 19, till 10, 15 minutes they'll be joining. Join immediately. Tell them to join immediately. Yes, is my screen is visible, students? Is the PPT is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, students, in last class, we were seeing the event and exception handling. Exception handling, we have seen exception handling. In last class, we have seen the program example for exception handling. This handling, this an exception handling means when some exception occurs. When some exception occurs, how to handle the situation. For exception handling, we have a message like if you are dividing a number by 0, then what type of exception it catches and what message it will display. And when the array out of bound exception occurs, then what type of message it will display. So everything so when you call a exception, when you apply the try catch block, then with respect in the try catch block, what in the exception method, in the exception handling, whatever the suitable errors it encounters, so that message it will display. So in last class, we seen the exception handling. It is a problem arises during the execution time. Execution time is nothing but a runtime. During runtime, if any problem occurs, if any error occurs, then to handle that situation, we use exception handling. Exception handling has 4 keywords: try, catch, finally, and throw. So this we have seen in the last class. Next, we have a very important concept in all the programming languages we have learned, that is control flow statement. See how the execution of the program takes place, students. How the execution of the program takes place. Top down approach, no, one by one, sequentially. Suppose I have this here, this is the beginning of the program, this is the beginning of the program, and this is the end of the program. So here sequentially, one by one, the statements will be executed. Yes, when you execute a program sequentially, one by one statements will be executed. Now this is the beginning of the program, this is the middle of the program, and this is the end of the program. I want to change the instead of once the program begins, instead of executing the second statement or second block, I want to jump directly to the third block. I want to jump directly to the third block. I want to change the flow of the control. I want to change the flow of the program. So for that we use this control flow statements. We use this control flow statements, which are which are if which are if statement, if, else if, else if, and multi-selection. Multi-selection else if is nested if. Nested if. The control statements we have, that is if, else if, and nested if. When we use if statement, when we use if statement, when we want to do some decision, when we want to take some decision, when you want to take some decision, students, when you want to take some decision, in that situation we use this if statement. What type of decision? What type of decision? Whether the given number is even or odd. Whether the given number is even or odd. Whether the given number is positive or negative. Positive or negative. Whether the given year is leap year or not. So there we have to decide. We have to decide based on the condition. We have to decide based on the condition. So if that condition is true, here to make a decision we use a symbol in the flowchart. We use this rhombus symbol. Here we write the condition. If A is, or same condition I take, if A if A is less than 0, or if A is nothing but a number. A is nothing but a number. If A is less than 0 means what? What is a number which is less than 0? Then it is a negative number. It is a negative number. So here if we are checking the condition, if I is less than 0, if this condition is true, then yes, students, here I don't have a else part. This is a simple, for this you can say as a simple if statement. For this you can say a simple if statement. It is a simple, it is a simple if statement. Here I don't have else part. If I is greater than 0, if I is greater than 0, then it is positive. If I is less than 0, if I assume that I is some number. If I is less than 0, then it is a negative number. Then it is a negative number. Come, see here, if this condition becomes false, then what will be the else part? We have not written. Why? Because it is a simple if statement. Here, next we have a if else. If this condition is true, then this statement will execute. If this condition is false, then what happens? What happens? Then the else part will be executed. The else part will be executed. If I is greater than 0, I is nothing but some number. I assume I is equal to 5. If 5 or some number, if 5 is greater than 0 means, then definitely it is a positive. If I is minus 5, if I is minus 5 is greater than 0, is this condition is true? No, this condition is false. Minus 5 is less than 0. Then it will execute the else part. In else part, what I have written, it is not positive, or you can write the given number is negative. The given number is negative. Next we have, we can use if within if. So else if else if. So if I is equal to 0, if I is equal to 0, then not we are checking if I is equal to 0, then the given number is 0. Then the given number is 0. Else we have some other conditions also, because we want to check whether a number is 0, whether the number is positive, and whether the number is negative. So here in this part we are checking three conditions, students. Here only one condition, here positive and negative both condition. Here we are checking three condition, whether the given number is 0, whether the given number is positive, whether the given number is negative. If I is equal to 0, then the number is 0. If I is greater than 0, then the number is positive. If I is less than 0, then the number is negative. Yes, students, this control statements you have learned in other programming languages also. Yes. Next we have switch case. Switch case. See, what is the yes, students? What is the difference between else if, or nested if, and switch case? What is the difference between nested if, and switch? What is the difference? What is the difference? Come on, what is the difference? Yaar gotilla. Out of 54 students, nobody knows the answer. Nobody knows the answer. So in nested if, what happens? First, it checks the first condition. If this condition is true, then it will go with the next. It will execute the next condition. If this condition is false, it will go to the else part. If this again, there also we check some condition. Again, if they're true or false, it will check. Sequentially, we are checking one by one. Yes, is it right, students? But in the case of switch case, in this case of switch case, you can transfer the flow of the program in whichever case you want. Here I have first case, second case, third case, fourth case, and the default case is ninth case. So here, instead of checking, here what happens in yesterday, first we have to check the first condition, but here in switch case I can give my choice. I can give my choice directly. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time in executing all the cases. In executing all the cases, I don't want to waste my time. I want to directly go to case 4. If you give the choice value, here for the choice value, the variable which I have taken is val1, str val1. If the value is equal to 4, if the value is equal to 4, then the flow of the program will directly go to the case 4. The flow of the program will directly go to case 4. It will not execute sequentially one by one case. It will not execute. It will not execute. If you want to go to directly the fourth case, you can execute the fourth case, students. You can execute the fourth case, and after executing the fourth case, again if you want to go to second case, if you give the choices 2, then it will execute second case. And if you want to execute the default case, then at the end by default it will execute the default case. Yes, students, one more thing. The case, in each case will end with a break statement. Each case will end with a break statement. Suppose if I give the case 4 directly, then the statements which are given in the case 4, those statements will be executed. Those statements will be executed till it encounters a break statement. How many statements are present in that particular case? It will execute all the statements. Once it encounters a break statement, it will stop the execution of that particular block. Suppose I execute first case. Yes, students, listen here. First I execute to the first case. If I give the choice first case, One thing you can observe in the first case, go to case 2. In the first case, the statement is go to case 2. And here I don't give this statement, I don't give this go to case 2. i'll I'll write some control, I'll write a display statement. I'll write a display statement using console dot write line. I'll write a display statement. I'll write a display statement. And one thing you observe, in case 1, I don't have a break statement. I don't have a break statement. And assume that in case 2 also I don't have break statement. In case 2 also I don't have break statement. Then what happens, students? My choice I have given 1. Choice I have given 1. In case 1 there is no break statement. Assume that in case 2 also I have removed the break statement. Then what happens? What happens? ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So yes students, if you don't give a break statement in any of the case, it will execute all the statements, it will execute all the cases unless it encounters a break statement. ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, here if you are not given break statement, though your next choice is though you have not given the next choice case 3, it will execute the statements till case 3. It will execute the statements of case 3 also. Why? Because here in case 1 also I have not given break statement. In case 2 also I have removed the break statement. So to stop the execution of the particular block, we need break statement. If you are not given a break statement, it will execute all the statements till it encounters a break statement. Suppose I have not given a break statement in any of the case. Ella cases alone I'll remove. Then from the beginning to the default case, it will execute all the statements. So this is the reason why we have to use, we should not forget to include a break statement, in each cases. Yes, somebody wants to tell? Ellaru helbeka? Anybody want to tell anything? Why today strength is very less? Why today strength is less, students? Only 22 students are there. Why? Why? Any placement? Apurva?
Yes, ma'am.
Apurva. Not lateral entry, our regular student Apurva. Why? Any placement is there, Apurva?
No, ma'am. No placement is there.
Nayana? No placement. No. Then why the strength is very less today? Only 22 students are there. Okay. So next we have looping statements. Next we have looping statements. Why we use looping statements, students? Looping statement ಯಾಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? Okay, if you want to repeat something, then we use looping statements. For example, For example, I want to display hi. I want to display hi 100 times. Yes, if I want to display hi 100 times, how can I display? The one way is I have to write console dot write line. Yes, is it right? This is one method. This is one method. I can write console dot write line hi. So if I select this method, this line I have to write 100 times. Is it right, students? This line I have to write 100 times. So to overcome the drawback of this, we have a looping statement. So in the looping statement, we write a condition. If this unless the condition becomes false, whatever the statements are there in the body of the loop, those statements will be executed. Students. Yes, understanding. So unless this condition becomes false, whatever the statements are there, those statements will be executed. And while loop, the syntax of while loop is, yes, students, here I have not taken syntax because these concepts are not there for your syllabus, but for lab, in many of the lab programs we are using for, while, do while we are using. So that's why here I am explaining these control statements. So the syntax of while is while condition. This is the body of the loop. Yes, is it right, students? So this while statement we call as a entry control loop. While statement we call as a entry control loop. Why the name is entry control loop? Can anybody tell me why the name is entry control loop? Because here, before you see, this is as I told, this is the body of the loop. Before we enter into the body of the loop, the condition will be checked. If this condition is true, yes, students, if this condition is true, only then it will enter into the body of the loop. If this condition is false, then it will not enter, the flow will not enter into the body of the loop. Directly it will come out of the loop and it will execute any other statements out of the loop. If any other statements are there, it will execute those statements. Yes, so this is the reason why we call as an entry control loop. Before we enter into the body of the loop, entry only we check the condition. Entry only we check the condition, so we call this as an entry control loop. Here the example, int I is equal to 1 2 3, count is equal to 0, and I is initialized to n. N. Here, while I is greater than 0, yes, condition is true. So then it will enter into the body of the loop. Here, if you give I value, negative value, then this condition becomes false. So it will not enter into the body of the loop. Just it will execute the statements. It will display the statement, whatever the statements here we have written. Yes, understood, students? Here, what is the example? If I is greater than 0, yes, this condition is true now. Then count will be incremented by 1. Now count value is 1. Now I is how much? I is 123. 123 divided by 10. 123 divided by 10. So divide this number, and after divide, after dividing this, then after dividing this, then it will display the statement. It will display the statement. What will be the I value now, students? I value ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 12.3. Yes, 12.3. See, this body of the loop will be executed until this condition becomes false. Until this condition becomes false. Now the I value is how much? 12.3. Whether 12.3 is greater than 0? Yes, it is greater than 0. Again, this statement will be executed. Now count will become 2. Count will become 2, and I is how much now? I is how much? 12. I is 12. I is 12. 12 by 10. 12 by 10, how much, students? 1.2. So again, I value is 1.2. Again, this will check, this condition will be checked, and 1.2 is greater than 0. Yes, condition is true. Then count will be incremented to 3. Now I is equal to 1.2 divided by 10. 1.2 divided by 10. Like this body of the loop will be executed unless this condition becomes false. Once this condition becomes false, it will come out of the loop. It will come out of the loop. Next we have do while. Do while. Do while statement we call as a exit control loop. Do while statement we call as a exit control. Do while statement we call as a exit control statement. Why exit control statement? What is the reason? Answer ಮಾಡಿ. Why? Prashant?
Yes, ma'am.
Now why it is called exit control loop?
Condition will be checked at the last.
ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರು ನೀವು ಯಾರು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ವಾ? ಏನ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ ಏನೇ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಯಾರು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ? ಉಮೇಹನಿ, ಸಿಂಚನ, ಪರೇಶ್, you people have decided not to answer whatever the questions I ask. So a do while statement we call as a exit control loop. We call as a exit control loop. Yes, students, I'll take attendance and then I'll continue my class. Answer attendance. Aditya, Ajay, Amit,
Present, ma'am.
Antima, Apurva,
Present, ma'am.
Ashwini,
Yes, ma'am.
Bindu,
Yes, ma'am.
Divyesh, Gaurish,
Yes, ma'am.
Gautami, Gunashekar, Harini, Surya,
Present, ma'am.
Nayana, Nazma,
Present, ma'am.
Nidhi, Pradeep, Preeti, Rajesh, Sahadev, Sahadev, Saket,
Present, ma'am.
Santosh, Santosh, Seema, Sinchana,
Present, ma'am.
Spurti, Shashank, Shashank, Varsha, Varsha, Yashashwini,
Present, ma'am.
Amruta, Anusha,
Present, ma'am.
Apurva,
Present, ma'am.
Siddharth, Chetana,
Present, ma'am.
Kavya,
Present, ma'am.
Madhu,
Present, ma'am.
Manish,
Present, ma'am.
Sarfraz,
Present, ma'am.
Murgesh,
Present, ma'am.
Mani, Paresh,
Present, ma'am.
Pooja,
Present, ma'am.
Prashant,
Present, ma'am.
Pratibha,
Present, ma'am.
Pratik,
Present, ma'am.
Sadhana,
Present, ma'am.
Shashank,
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಒಂದೇನು ಪವರ್ ಕಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ.
huh?
ಪವರ್ ಕಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ.
Shraddha, Sridhar, Sridhar, Tanuj,
ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
Tejaswini,
Present, ma'am.
Ani, Ume Ani,
Present, ma'am.
Ashish, Ashish, Vidya, Vishal, Vishal, okay, this do while we call as a exit control loop, and students, see here, this is the do while statement. Do while, do body of the loop and the condition. Do body of the loop and the condition. Here, students, though the condition is false, minimum once the body of the loop will be executed. Why? Because First, the execution of the program will be in a sequential order, one by one. So once here the initialization part, initialization, the declaration of the variable, then it encounters the compiler will encounters the do statement. So once it encounters a do statement, it will enter into the body of the loop and it executes the statements which are present in the body of the loop. Here, if you instead of this calculative statement, if I include any console dot write line and if I add a high statement here, then that high statement will be displayed. And after displaying high statement, then the condition will be checked. If the condition is false, if the condition is false, then again it will not enter into the body of the loop. Though the condition is false, minimum once the body of the loop will be executed. Minimum one, the body of the loop will be executed. So this do while statement is called as an exit control loop. Why? Because this is the entry of the loop and this is the exit of the loop. During the exit of the loop, the condition will be checked. The condition will be tested. So this is a exit control. We call as a exit control loop. Next, we have a most commonly used looping statement. The most commonly used looping statement is for loop. The most commonly used looping statement is for loop. What is the syntax of for loop, students? For initialization, condition, increment or decrement. Increment or decrement. This is the syntax of the for loop. Here you may ask question, can I do only one initialization? Can I do only one condition check? Can I do only one increment or decrement? You can add more than one initialization also. Yes, here I have written the syntax. Here I have written two initialization, condition checking, increment and decrement. Just now I told you can include more than one initialization. You can include more than one increment or decrement. But whatever I have written, this is wrong. Why wrong? Anybody? Umehani, why it is wrong? Umehani?
Yes, ma'am.
Why it is wrong? Why it is
Ma'am,
wrong? Na?
because there is no comma or nothing in between, ma'am.
Here I have given the semicolon. Here I have given semicolon. Int semicolon, int semicolon. See, here I have not, this is not a board, no. Here I have not written. So you have to assume int some initialization I have written here also, and this is semicolon. This is also some initialization, semicolon, condition, increment and decrement. Is it right? Is it right? Yes, student, this is wrong. Why? Because a for loop contains only two semicolons. The for loop should contain only two semicolons. If I am including two initialization like I is equal to 0 and j is equal to 0, the same for loop, you can ask, can we include like this? I is less than j I plus plus. Hig bari bohuda. Yes, can I write like this?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
Who is that? Yes.
No,
Yeah,
ma'am.
no. Why? Because according to the syntax, I can write only two semicolons in the for loop, but I told you can include more than one initialization. When you are including more than one initialization, then if you have more than one initialization, then you have to separate with comma operator. Now I is equal to 0, comma j is equal to 0, semicolon, I is less than j, semicolon, and I plus plus. Now it is correct according to the syntax. It has only two semicolons. Yes, students, for the condition also, if you have more than one condition, in one condition is there, I want to check whether j is greater than 0 or not. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು condition ನಾನು add ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Then you can include one more condition, but two conditions should be separated with a comma operator. The two conditions should be separated with a comma operator. So this is for loop. And here I have break and continue. You know, in the for loop, in the switch case, we have seen what is the break state, what is the use of break statement. If you want to stop the execution of the program, then we use a break statement. Suppose I have 10 statements in my program. After 5th statement, I want to stop the execution. I want to stop the execution. Then I can include break statement in the program. What is this continue? Do we use continue to continue the execution of the program? Yes, students, do we use continue to continue the execution of the program? Program execution continue ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ continue use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಾ? Respond. Here, according to the for loop, I is equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. This program will display the output from 1 to 19. This program will display the output from 1 to 19. Why 19? Because I is equal to 0 and I is less than 19. Till this, once the I value becomes 20, then the condition will become false and it will terminate. But here, why we are using here continue statement here? Is Apurva K, why we are using here continue statement? Suppose, yes, students, suppose I am displaying 1, 2, 3 up to 19. I am displaying the statements. I don't like 15. I don't like 15. I don't want in my list. I don't want 15. Then what can I do? What is the solution I have? How I can skip 15? Yes. Come on, respond. You people are attending placements. You are not answering for a simple question. So to skip any value, we use continue statement. Here, what I have written, if I is equal to 5, means once the value of I becomes 5, then it will skip that particular value. Continue means it will skip that particular value. Value skip madi, remaining value it will display. Remaining value it will display. And next we have for each. For each is a very important concept, students. For each, I'll do it in the next class. For each, I'll do it in the next class. Yes, students, today's assessment. The link I am sharing in the chat box. Answer the assessment, students. Answer the assessment. Finish fast. The students do it fast. I've got only 2 responses. Saket and Apurva H. What about the remaining students? Complete the assessment. The students only 6 responses I got. Mehani, Chetana, Apurva, Manish, Gaurish. Bega bega madi. Complete the assessment fast. Students, another 2 minutes time I'll give. In 2 minutes you try to complete. Just 4 questions, no? 4 questions can't be complete in 5 minutes. More than 5 minutes I do. Students finish fast. Okay, students, I'll stop here. See you in the next class.